Well, first of all, Caroline, thank you for having me on the Inspired Choice podcast and being able to talk to your audience. And I just want to remind your audience that they are the biggest variable in the success and failure of their life. So you as the listener, you are the biggest part of the trajectory of your life. And your behaviors, your choices, your habits will be the building blocks of your future self. So make those choices carefully.
Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm your host, Caroline Biesalski, here to bring you authentic stories, surprising lessons, and powerful takeaways to fuel your journey in business and life. In each episode, I'll take you from one inspiring guest to the next, blending their experiences with my expertise to uncover practical strategies you can use right away. Whether you're starting out or stepping up, stay tuned for insights and actionable tips that make a difference. And stick around until the end for a special freebie just for our listeners. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline and my today's guest is Chad Hufford, and I hope I pronounced your name right. How are you doing today?
Caroline, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. And it's a great pleasure of mine to be able to talk to you and your audience and encourage them and hopefully help them build a more abundant life.
Yes, for sure. We are working on that, and I would love to introduce you to the audience, of course. First, you are Dave Ramsey's Smart Vestor Pro and owner of Veritas Wealth Management, a boutique financial planning firm managing $500 million and serving hundreds of families nationwide. Beyond finance, you are a speaker and teacher on fitness and faith, integrating these elements into your approach for living a purposeful and abundant life. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Chad Hufford.
Thank you.
Okay, my first question goes to you. It is, how do you incorporate fitness and faith into your financial planning philosophy for a more balanced life approach?
Well, I believe that folks need to be living their life in balance in the sense that I'll just give you an example. We had somebody that came to us recently, and he had spent his 30s and 40s essentially sacrificing his health and relationships to build wealth. And now he's 63, 64 and trying to spend his wealth to buy back that time and that health. So I think we don't want anybody to relinquish their physical health or their relational health just to save money, to put money away. We have to figure out how to do that in balance. And there's another guy that I talked to about a year or so ago that said, I've got more money than I ever thought possible, but I've nobody to share it with. He worked a very difficult job, a lot of long hours, and he had sacrificed a lot of his most meaningful relationships. So we don't want that for people. We want people to be physically strong and healthy, to be financially independent, and to have good relationships around them, because the last thing somebody wants is to have a lot of money, a lot of time on their hands, but no relationships and poor physical health, because they're not going to be able to really enjoy it.
Yes, that's so true. So there are things money can buy. You mentioned it, and now I understand how you combine fitness and faith in order to build financial freedom, but also health and good well-being relationships. Yeah.
Well, and Caroline, money is just a tool. It's a tool that can help you build a better life. But if you misuse that tool, or if you don't use that tool in balance, it actually can be destructive. And money should not be the focus. And that might be kind of weird coming from somebody who's a financial planner and owns a wealth management firm. But money is just a tool. It's something we use to build something even better. And just think about, if somebody was building a house for you, your focus isn't going to be on the tools they're using. you want the house. You want the house that's going to protect you, serve you, and give you freedom and security. The tools are a means to the end. So yes, the tools are important. We want to make sure we're utilizing them correctly, but the tools themselves are not the objective. They're what we use to create a more abundant life. And I also use a lot of those analogies too, because I think our physical health, much like our financial health, it can be overwhelming. It can be intimidating sometimes. And sometimes people just like, well, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't understand it. I'm going to ignore it. But the problem with financial health and physical health is if you ignore it, it will only deteriorate. So whether it's something somebody is interested in or not, we have to take personal responsibility for our finances and our personal fitness.
Oh, that's so true. And I love your analogy with the house. You can throw the tools away after building the house. The house is still there. You don't focus on the tools, but they have to work in the background. And I also thought about a car. You need a car or a vehicle, whatever, to go from A to B, but you don't focus on the car necessarily. You enjoy the landscape and the goal or the destination where you are going, right? Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much. I have another question. Let's have a look. As a Smart Vestor Pro, what are the key principles you share with clients to help them achieve long-term financial success?
Well, one of the very first things that we want to encourage people to do, and it sounds so simple, but very few people do it, and it's living within your means. So if it doesn't matter how good your investments are, it doesn't matter how nuanced your financial plan is, if you don't have a margin between the income you're bringing in and the money you spend every month, you're not going to be able to fund the plan. You're not going to be able to fund your investments. You're not going to be able to think about it. It's almost like planting seeds in an orchard. If you consume all of the seeds every month, there's nothing there to plant for the future. So the number one thing is living beneath your means. The author Morgan Housel says it like this: you have to have your ego smaller than your income. And a lot of people miss that, and they're so focused on their investments. They're so focused on these little small details, but they spend their entire paycheck. There's nothing left to pay the future version of themselves. So telling your money where to go with a budget instead of wondering where it went, living within your means, that's the number one thing. And then once people get beyond that, we have the benefit of taking Dave Ramsey's principles, which are general and broad-based, but applying them to somebody's very specific financial goals, taking their long-term objectives, what they need to accomplish in the future, and creating kind of a blueprint to connect their actions today with what they're trying to build in the future.
Oh, I see. So you focus from the person they want to become, and you do reverse engineering and ask yourself, what do they need in the future, for example, and then you plant the seeds today. Oh, it's so simple. And that is why it is overlooked.
It's simple, but it's difficult. Just like if somebody was trying to get in better shape, or maybe lose weight, to eat healthier and to exercise, like all those things are simple. To get up an hour earlier every morning so you can run 4 or 5 miles, like that's simple, but it's not easy. And it's making those difficult choices every single day. And in some respects, Caroline, we're almost like a personal trainer for money. We encourage people, sometimes even exhort and push people, challenge people to do the simple but difficult things that most people aren't going to do. So they do serve their future selves rather than stealing from their future selves.
Yes, that's great. I never heard it before, but I love it. You don't steal from your future self, so to say. Amazing. Thank you so much. What strategies do you recommend for families looking to align their finances with their core values and life goals?
Well, first of all, I think people need to know what's really important for them. I think the tendency in our society today, because of social media and our ability to compare ourselves with others, like so often we are living somebody else's life. We're spending our money to buy what we think might impress people around us, or we buy what somebody else values. And we need to know what we value, what our family values, what is important to us. Otherwise, it's like dancing to somebody else's music. So one of the questions we ask people is, if you never needed your paycheck ever again, if you were at a place where you're financially independent, you never needed your job, what would you want your life to look like? What are the hobbies and the passions? What are some of the things that you would love to follow right now, but maybe you don't have the time or the money or the resources to do that? What about travel? Are there places that you would like to spend more time? Do you have kids maybe in different cities that you don't get to see as often? Like what do you paint? Basically, what I'm asking people is, I want you to dream a little bit and then paint a little bit of a picture for me so I can see what it is that you're dreaming. And then you already said it. We reverse engineer that. I love that term because exactly what it is. It's taking something important and meaningful in the future and reverse engineering it into the present. But unless people know what's important to them, what gives them fulfillment, it's hard. It's difficult. So we walk them through that process, and we're asking them about life goals and lifestyle decisions more than money goals at first. And then we have a better understanding about what their lifestyle needs are, or what they want those to be in the future, where they want to be, what they want to be doing, the type of person they want to become. Then we can start attaching some financial goals to that and start creating some financial pathways, some financial disciplines to connect where they are today with where they want to be in the future.
Oh, I understand, because it's not about the money. You said this in the beginning. It's always what we do with the money, and we get to choose. And you said you called it lifestyle. Yes, you create a vision with your clients where they want to go, how they want to invest their money in, right? And then they are emotionally attached with that, with their vision.
And exactly. And emotional attachment is so critical. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Caroline, because you said this just a few minutes ago earlier. You said it's fairly simple, but it is difficult. And simple things aren't always easy. And unless we are emotionally engaged, then it's too easy to give up, to only do this when we want to. And the thing about building a financial future, it's like building a better marriage. It's like building a business. It's even building a healthier body. You can't do it when it's convenient. You have to commit to it, even when the feelings or the emotions aren't there. You're just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. So creating an emotional attachment allows people to stay engaged and stay committed, even when they don't feel a sense of motivation.
Yes, it's so easy what you said. I have lots of words now. It all starts with why, the famous book from Simon
Simon
Sinek
Sinek.
or Sinek, yes. And also about habits. We could talk about habits, because I learned that until it is a habit of yours, you have to be self-disciplined first. Yeah.
Well, and that's a big part of what we try to do is help be a source of discipline for our clients. Not discipline in a punishment standpoint, but discipline is in, almost like guardrails, keeping somebody on that narrow path. And self-discipline it's a finite resource, and the more often you have to use it, the quicker it burns out. So if you can convert self-discipline into habits, like, I'm just going to give you an example. If you had to choose every week or every 2 weeks to take money out of your checking account, write a check to your investment, mail that check off, there's so many steps that takes a lot more self-discipline, rather than having money automatically taken out of your paycheck. It goes right into an investment account. You make that decision once. You don't have to make it over and over again every time you get a paycheck. So you're trying to automate, create habits out of the good behavior, and make bad behaviors or maybe unhealthy behaviors harder. Like, we've had some people that they disconnect their credit cards from the Amazon account because every time they want to make a purchase, now they have to go find their purse or find their wallet, take out their credit card, punch in the number. It makes it a little bit harder to spend money. They have to think about it a little bit longer. So what we want to do is make our healthy habits easier and make our unhealthy habits a little bit more difficult. And it allows us to make better choices.
Oh, I love that. I had a money coach, I think 20 years ago, and he gave the advice when you open your wallet, right, with the cash in it, and to have a little note that says, "Do I really need this?"
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the same when you disconnect your credit card from the account.
Yeah, and it gives you a little bit of a pause to ask yourself that question. Like, yeah, do I really need this? Is this a good decision? Am I serving or stealing from the future version of me? Those little things. And so often I love that you brought up habits, because so many of our decisions are made without thinking. They are just habitual. We wake up, we grab our phone, we look at all the bad things that happened in the world while we were sleeping, or we mindlessly scroll or whatever, but we don't really consciously think like, this is what I'm going to do. I want to see all the bad news that happened in the world. It's just a habit. We pick up our phone and we look, or we get home, we throw our stuff on the counter, and we grab a soda out of the fridge and we just sit there and we drink it, and we're not really thinking like, do I really need these calories right now, or is this good for me? It's mindless. So what we try to do, Caroline, is try to make sure people are more intentional with their decisions, so they're acting on a plan and not reacting to habit, subconscious behavior, or this crazy world around us.
I love that. Being intentional with your decisions. I have to adapt this turn. I would have said make an inspired choice or something.
Oh, I
Um,
like that.
yes, yes, I would say this because this is the name of my podcast. And you talked about goals already and helping your clients achieving their goals. What about your own goals? Do you set goals or intentions? This is the word again. And what is one of your next projects?
Well, we are always setting goals. I think it's important to have something on the horizon that you're working towards. Now, sometimes those goals change, but again, it goes back to like, as you said, making an inspired choice. You're making a decision towards something, and sometimes that thing that you are pursuing, it changes. You realize, oh, that wasn't what I thought it was, or maybe it's not as important. But always making always making goals to guide us, to keep us focused on the future and looking past some of the distractions of the moment. And the idea of being inspired, you have to see past distractions. You have to see through the noise of the moment. So one of the things that we're working on right now is we're building the infrastructure of the business. We hired two fantastic new financial planners. One is actually a chartered financial analyst. Very few wealth management firms have a CFA, a chartered financial analyst, but we're building this team of fantastic people so we can continue to grow and scale. And we run very small and lean, Caroline, but I think these two people that we recently brought on are going to allow us to continue to serve at a very high level, but to also expand the reach that we currently have. So we've got several goals on that, but that's the biggest project I'm working on right now. I released a book early in the year, so that was a big hurdle to get over. But kind of to your question, it's always having something out there that challenges me, that stretches me, because I I want to be careful of not getting too comfortable, because I think if you get comfortable, you quit growing, because comfort leads to complacency, and that usually leads to compromise. So I think staying a little uncomfortable is always good, and goals help us do that. They keep us from getting complacent.
Yes, that's so true. So thank you so much for our interview. And please reach out to Chad. He's amazing. He has information not many people have, and he's willing to share it with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now is time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
Well, first of all, Caroline, thank you for having me on the Inspired Choice podcast and being able to talk to your audience. And I just want to remind your audience that they are the biggest variable in the success and failure of their life. So you as the listener, you are the biggest part of the trajectory of your life. And your behaviors, your choices, your habits will be the building blocks of your future self. So make those choices carefully.
This is the best message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amazing.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Inspired Choice today. I'm thrilled to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe to stay connected and never miss an episode. And here's something special. Grab your free 20-minute breakthrough session with me. It's designed to help you kickstart or level up your business. Just check out the show notes for more. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices. See you in the next episode.